As with every other great stream, I'll start it off with, I think we're live. Now we gotta wait for chat to listen to it and tell me whether I'm live. Okay, nice. Alright, welcome everyone. Today we're gonna be taking a look at the Vega. We're gonna unbox and sort of give first impressions. Yeah, I guess some background first. I bought this board with my own money. To my knowledge, Type Plus has no knowledge that I bought this board, and I waited in line just like everyone else, no special treatment, yada yada yada, all of that stuff. So let's get started. Alright, so the box, pretty bare bones. Type Plus is a new vendor. Nothing really special to it. Maybe down the line they'll add a logo on the side of the box or something like that. That is an HHKB Pro 2 with desk keys normal thickness silencer. Yeah, I meant to buy one of the regular box cutter sizes, but this was do I constantly switch keyboards? Yeah, I'm daily driving the HHKB because custom keyboards get shocked and then they die. Alright, before you see it, I'm gonna check that there's no shipping invoice or anything like that. It's actually made of solid material. Might be steel. I don't know. Alright, out of the box comes this. Very cool box. I have not been using my D65. That went right back in the closet. I'm working on the Bella review. I did read about the ESD protection on the Vega, but it seems a little sus, so I'll have to test it out. Alright. If it's anything like Polaris, this should come right up. Pretty nice. Very complex assembly. Please read the assembly guide. Building without the manual may lead to permanent damage. That's a pretty scary sign. Alright, so packaging very close, very similar to what we've seen on the Polaris. Well, I guess you guys didn't see it. I saw it though, so it sucks to suck. This time I'm not forgetting my gloves. Thoughts on the recent influx of ABS cases? So other than the NK65, I actually haven't seen any of them out in the wild. I think I think it was inevitable. Vendors get bigger and bigger, and eventually they're gonna produce their own product like that. All right, get ready for the exam, boys. You're gonna look at the PCB. It is sealed. All right, pretty standard looking PCB, I think. Oh, what am I saying? This doesn't look standard at all. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. You know, hot swap, flex cut. I think this is 1.2 millimeter. It's got these weird little pads on the stabilizer locations for some reason. Not really sure what that's about. Some accessories. So these are little, these are for stabilizers. You punch one of these out, put them on top of these guys right here. Because stabilizers are designed for 1.5 millimeter thickness PCBs. So this PCB is thinner than that usual, so stabilizers can have a little bit of trouble clipping it. So that's what that's for. A whole bunch of screws. And, oh, comes with hardware. Nice. And looks like we have our gaskets here as well. This does seem like a complicated assembly indeed. All right, moving on to the board itself. Comes in this nice kind of leathery feeling packaging. Does feel premium. So I got the green because one, I didn't have a green board, and two, I thought the green would sell out slower because it's maybe not a desirable color like E-white. I think it looks pretty good. The finish is cool. There's a little spot here. That kind of seems like something that'd come off, but we'll see about that. There's a whole lot of smudging right here. I'm pretty sure I didn't cause it. This is, you know, it doesn't permeate water. But you know, I don't really care. You know, brass weights gets messed up all the time. I don't know why people even bother finishing them. Looks like a big strip of 5 gum. Oh, funny story. I was watching some Twitch before the stream, and all of their ads are 5 gum ads. It's, I don't know, it's a lot. All right, so I got it with the polycarbonate plate, and with the temporary screws on it, it's, I don't know, it's pretty flexible, but I guess that doesn't really tell you anything, I guess. Let's put this away. Put that away. Oh, sorry, yeah. It is a steel brass, not, or steel weight, not brass. As far as weights go, it does feel about the same density as brass. Am I building it this stream? I am not building it. I will be sticking switches in, but I'm not going to do the stabilizers because I don't like getting shmoo all over my hands. The green is more like a pea color. I would say... Alright. I would say the true color as seen on camera... Okay, this angle seems pretty accurate for what I'm seeing in terms of finish. This is a little brighter than what I'm seeing in real life. Alright, so let's get into it. Alright, actually, let me first consult the build guide because there were some pretty scary warnings. Alright, thank you for the purchase. What's in the box? Vega Play, PCB, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I know they say to read it thoroughly, but, you know, I'm not. Let's begin. Check for major external flaws. I don't know if that weight stuff really qualifies as a major flaw, because I think that part gets messed up anyway. Okay. If you have any flaws in the case that require replacement, do not continue further. I don't want to deal with that, so let us continue. If not already done, double check that the contents of the packaging listed are actually in the box. Just from experience, I think everything I need is in here. Plug in the PCB and verify that it detects it as a device. That's kind of a hassle for how I'm set up right now, so I will not do that. Alright, so without further consulting the manual, let's just get into it. I'm not really much one for following directions on stream. For review, obviously I'll be doing it thoroughly, but you know, this is just the first look. Would I ever do a build stream? I don't think so. So personally, I find build streams to be very boring. If I'm being honest, I don't know how you guys watch even these streams, because I think streams in general are kind of boring, but yeah. So, lots of foam here. Goes with this. Pretty squishy. And custom foam for the bottom. Oh, whoa. We got two. That's kind of weird. So this is sort of what the internals look like. Just like the Polaris, we have posts where where the gaskets make contact. This is actually the exact opposite of how the D65 handles gaskets. D65 has little inserts that the gaskets sink into, and I'll get into it in the review, but that poses a couple problems possibly, but you know. Okay, so looking at the quality here, we have a little smudge on this guy, as well as another one of these watermarks here. And next to this screw hole, we have a little bit of discoloration as well as a bare metal portion. And throughout, you can see sort of the lines at certain angles. This is something I've seen on boards like the K. Not a big deal since it's all internal, but I guess something to keep in mind if you care. I'm only here to hear your soothing voice. Thank you. Choose your foam adventure. He sounds like Tay keyboards a lot, to be honest. Yeah, I get that sometimes. And definitely in the beginning, I basically copied Tay keyboards format. Is this a high-end board? The cost to me shipped was about $400, so I think it would be considered high-end, sure. All right, getting further into the disassembly. That doesn't fit. All right, as expected, the weight screws are fairly tight in there. Oh, one thing I notice from time to time when building keyboards is that sometimes you'll get into a keyboard and the screw holes are really crunchy, like there's debris inside. I've had it with my J80, as well as a little bit from the K. I'm not seeing anything like that here. I have not reviewed the K yet, but I do like it in terms of design. K is sort of the first proper gummy worm keyboard I owned, and it just kind of showed me that I don't like gummy worms. Alright, so this is the weight. Kind of cool. Oh, I think I'm leaving smudges even with these gloves on. So this totally could be me. Do you think the 65% group buy is overkill? There are so many. Yeah, I think 65% is the fad right now. Just a couple months ago, it used to be 75% with like the exploded arrow case, just like the Bella. But my prediction is that once we're done with the 65% phase, we're gonna get into just regular 60%, because we always do. Alright, now that we've seen the weight. Actually, before we move on, let's do the weight for the weight. Is the debris usually blue or green? If so, that's usually to create a better seal. If not, it seemed to be metal shavings, actually. So, weight is 1 pound, just about 2 pounds, or just under a kilogram. Bottom is super light, 264 grams, under a pound here. And top, the polycarbonate plate's gonna be negligible. So this is again well under a pound, 182 grams. Yeah, it's just like the Polaris in that way. These pieces are just super light. I can fling these around no problem. It's this thing that kind of brings it all together. Like, this really feels like nothing. It's lighter than the HHKB. High-end board, it seems like you have to do so much work. Yeah, I guess that's kind of true from an outsider's point of view. But this is, well, I guess it's not a great argument to say this is just the way it is. But it is the way it is. You typically get shipped components, maybe they're partially screwed in, but you know, I think a lot of people would actually prefer that it not be assembled out of the box, because, you know, there is some amount of fun to be had while building it for some people. All right. So I'm looking at the assembly here, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of a lot. Why is there this one screw hole here that holds onto the weight? Why not two? Maybe it interferes with the plate. And like, if I look at it from this angle, will I be able to figure out how to assemble this without looking at the manual? I'm not so sure. Personally, I think the part of the enjoyment, yep, exactly. Okay. I think that sort of concludes our tour around the board. One thing I want to point out is that this polycarbonate plate is finished really well. Typically, polycarbonate plates are either smooth on both sides, like we've seen on the LZ Physics, or frosted with a really rough grain on one side and smooth on the other, like we've seen on the E6.5. But this, along with the K, is the first one I've seen where this polycarbonate feels like a polycarbonate case. I mean, you know, just for reference, it looks better than the KVD8X Mark II's polycarbonate finish. This is grainy poly finish. This is smooth finish. Would I join a GeonWorks? Geon? I don't know. I don't know. The boards there, I'm sure the boards are fine, but I perceive them as kind of hypebeast, which probably means really super hard to join. So I guess I'll give it a go. But the 8X, what was it? The F81X or something like that? It seems nice, but it's not really like my style. You know what I mean? Okay. So it looks like we have conductive foam here. This is for ESD protection. However, oh, I see. So the PCB connects to the case electrically with the foam on this side. This is the bottom side of the PCB. So when it rests up on the case, it'll connect electrically and then hopefully conduct any shocks from the case into the PCB through the USB shield ground, and it should be all good. I don't see any other pads here, so I guess it doesn't connect to the plate, but I guess it doesn't really matter. You pronounce it gone. They're really good. So I know he's from Korea, but I've never seen it written in Korean, so I have no idea how to pronounce it. They only ship to Korea. F1 8X looks nice, but very clean. Goodbye, tree leaf. All right, let's get to assembling our thing. Preparing the case. Take out all of these screws. Already done that. Okay. Take the plate out. And then gasket installation. Okay. Okay. Let's do that. Okay, just for you guys, I will clean up as I go. In your review, can you do a comparison between a 1 versus 9 standoffs? Are you talking about in tray mount keyboards? Do you daily IDB60? I do not, because I don't want to kill it with ESD. Alright, so let's get these plate screws off. These are temporary plate screws. This is the first keyboard where there are temporary anything that I've encountered. The scraping on the desk is just my way of doing things. As you know, these boards get even worse handling during review. And I wonder why I could never sell them for market price. Speed Silver, cool switch. Speed Silver is pretty interesting. I got to try it on a K-type before, and it's the weight that I perceive is really heavy. I press down on it, and it's like a short version of MX Black. The rated weight might not be that heavy, but the perceived weight is very heavy. It ramps up very quickly. Wasn't there a temporary foam tab? Oh yeah. Okay, you're right. Forgot the thing I reviewed. Okay. Before we get into that, let's put feet on this. Looks like the hardware is kind of greasy. Gross. Do I like Speed Silver? I don't use them in any of my keyboards, but I don't think they're bad. They might be a little scratchy. Basically, the only switches I use nowadays is Gateron Yellow and Kale Pro Purple. Is Glasses still in the chat? I also use MX Browns, of course. But that should go without saying, in my opinion. Do I have a preference for type of feet? Not a strong preference, but I think if the keyboard was designed for it, the long feet works really well. I like it on the M65A, and I also liked it on the M60A. The feet seem fairly stiff. Some of the feet that ships with KBD fans boards tend to be a little squishy. And so people try testing flex with it while lying on a table, and you press down here and it will squish like a whole centimeter. Any opinion on Korean brands like Monster Gear or TX? They look really good, but the lack of QMK VIA is a deal breaker for me. I think TX is more in tune with the Western market. Monster Gear, I have no idea. The stuff they had seemed pretty cool. TX keyboards, I don't really like their designs very much. I have a TX75 from a couple years ago, and the USB hole is absolutely gaping, and it's just unnecessarily heavy, and I don't know, it just seems like not a great way to design a keyboard, but you know, that's from a while ago, so I guess their EO87 stuff is kind of interesting. It's different, but yeah, I don't really care for them. Why do I wear gloves? In the beginning, it was because I didn't want to smudge the board upon inspection. Now I'm wearing gloves because now I've sweat through them, and if I take them off, you're gonna see how sweaty my hands are. Opinions on Gateron Milky Top. I have no opinions on the tiny little differences between Gateron stuff. So let's check out the gasket situation again. So it looks like we'll need 5 of the long boys, and you get 6 on each. No, you get 7 on each sheet, and you get 2 sheets. Alright, so we're going to deviate from the guide because they tell you to put the gaskets on the plate, but we're not going to do that. We did it on the D65. It was a disaster, and I put it on the case on the Polaris. Works fine. I don't really know why the direction is for putting it on the plate. I'm not really sure why that's set. Alright, this is delicate work, so I'm taking off my gloves. Alright. The material for this gasket seems to be a little more resilient than... never mind. It's about the same as the one in the D65. Do you see those Gateron yellows with capped stems? Yeah, I was gonna grab one, but shipping was insane. It was just like, it was like $17 for shipping just a couple switches, so I'll pick some up when they're available through US vendors. They do look pretty interesting though. They're like a major redesign, not major like KO box, but a significant redesign of how like MX style switches sort of work. It looks like I missed the mark here a little bit. It's more shifted. So how easy is it to get it off? Okay, it's fairly easy, but we've seen that on the D65 as well. I had to correct those after assembly, and when there was pressure applied in mounting, these all stuck to the case pretty harshly, and I couldn't get them off in one nice strip. I think if you were applying gaskets on your case for the D65, it would be harder there as well as this when compared to this, because these are on posts while those are on cavities. Alright, moving on to the top. I guess I'll need to pay attention to which gaskets need to go where. I think I'm doing 3 on this side, 2 on this side, just like the bottom. Okay, this seems slightly tougher. second one on the top. Nice hand, bro. I never get that. Because I have some pretty screwed up joints. All of my joints are bony. Yeah, I understand the benefits of putting it on the case. But I don't understand if there are any benefits to putting it on the plate. Because why is that the official way for all of these like foam strip mounted keyboards? Gasket mount meme or lives up to the hype? Like, you know, it's not gonna make you rich or get you a girlfriend. But like, if it's done correctly, it does make a difference. But the difference is not as big as you might expect or hope. Oh god, I'm really messing this one up. Do the smaller gaskets first. Had a hard time putting the gasket on the corner since the smaller gasket needs to be way in the case. Oh, I see. Well, it's too late. Phony hands are best hands. Okay, this is getting kind of weird. So I'm not a big fan of these gaskets because they're not very replaceable. They're really fragile, they rip easily, and they're not a commonly available part. So, you know, AIO3 and Kevin Plus have noticed this problem, saying if you want a $5 gasket replacement, it's going to cost like $30 in shipping. So yeah, I'm not a fan from like a repairability and maintainability standpoint. How about the mute that Rama puts in between? I have not tried one of those, but I think it would make a fairly big difference. Yeah, I'm not sure. Because like that mount is done through the plate and then attaches to the case as well, which I think is pretty interesting. But I haven't really had an interest to getting Rama boards recently because they take so long to fulfill and they're also really super expensive. And they haven't had like a design that I really liked, like with the M60A. All right, let me check out next steps. Small gaskets. Okay, small gaskets just on the rest of the case basically. Weird how Polaris has USB on the left and this has USB in the middle. Should be the way. Yeah, Polaris left USB I feel seems like a holdover from universal PCBs, because that's where typical 60% will have them. But the thing is, typical 60% PCBs don't necessarily work with the Polaris, so what's even the point? But for boards, basically 75% and smaller, I prefer them to be on the center. Thoughts on putting a tablecloth at the bottom of boards. I typically use my boards with 2 desk mats stacked on top of each other. It does change the sound in that it'll be more of the keyboard rather than the desk. I recommend it, especially if you're making typing tests. What? Am I getting the KBD67 Lite? I was gonna, but they had the sale right during Thanksgiving dinner, so I didn't. Are you putting GAT yellows in here too? Do you even need to ask? Why would you get the KVD67 Lite if you're getting? Oh, I mean, I would get it for review basically. That's why I got the TFV2 as well as the Bella and D65. Those aren't boards that I typically would have purchased. Did I hop on the GMMK Pro pre-order? I sure did. I mean, it seems like that has the potential to become my most successful video. Can you attach the gaskets to the top and bottom case? Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. Oh, sorry about that. I had the wrong screen up. I've made progress on these small gaskets. It was fairly simple. Am I going to get the D60? I am not. Because I bought a whole bunch of KVD fans and for review specifically, but haven't gotten around to doing them. So yeah, also D60, kind of expensive. I think KVD fans is starting to get into expensive territory, and I think we need another sort of entry-level vendor. Maybe KP Republic is doing it, but they seem kind of sus. Have you seen the KBD fans Maja? Yes, I have. I did not get it because I think that way of doing the arrow keys and the nav cluster on an Alice-like keyboard is I'm not a fan of it. I think the physics does it the best. I mean, the layout is basically the only thing the physics does good. Alright, I think I assembled it without any problem. I'm not seeing any crushed gaskets anywhere, or crushed not in the way that's intended. I missed the earlier part of the stream. I am using a polycarbonate plate. Don't buy from KP Republic, shipping is 1 month. Yeah, but you know, KVD fans used to be like that too. Did you Band-Aid mod your PCB? This is actually not Band-Aid modded. This is the PCB itself. I never Band-Aid mod because it causes some badness. It makes the bottom out squishy, and if I wanted it to be squishy, I wouldn't have clipped the stabs. Oh, I forgot to put the last one. Let me see what's up here. Basically in the size of the cases. Oh my god. Okay, so 6 locations. This is a whole thing. So I'm guessing these side gaskets are for sort of holding the PCB plate assembly in place relative to the case. Because these PCBs aren't fixed in an absolute position, but rather is always going to be free to sort of float around. Wait, where do I put these? Oh, come on, there's no way. Okay, so I'm gonna need to put this piece in here, which seems implausible. Maybe this is why they ask you to put the gaskets on the plate. It's not perfect. It sticks out a little bit. Let me see if it works. Whoops. Oh, it's fine. I was trying to put the top on from the wrong orientation. Green boards are good with camping. So, I have camping here. I'm not going to put it on the green board because I think that's pretty predictable. So for the stream, I got an even less interesting key set to put on it. Oh, as you may know, these are custom-made switches. They are called SGYs. I am the only person who has any number of them. GMK Darling? I don't have that. I haven't bought a GMK set in months. The last one I got was Honeywell & Co. That set I really like, but I don't really know where it is at this point in time. GMK Olivia, I thought about it, but I thought maybe it wouldn't look very nice on the green. The key set I chose is a pretty niche, you might not have heard of it. Alright, I think our gasket assembly is done. It was pretty bearable. This stuff is a little sus. This gasket on the wall as well as the gasket location. Maybe you're able to shift the case gasket a little bit so that you can make room for the wall gasket, but I'm not really sure. I did not get Nautilus Nightmares because I did not. Okay, everybody's saying JMK Darling, but I don't have that, dude. It's WOB, isn't it? Close. Very close. Do you think there's any con to getting the assembly service? Yes. Con being you have to pay money. The D65 is hot swap. It has to be 9009 or Olive. I do not have Olive. Underbyte, maybe. But no, it's not Underbyte. Oh, one interesting I'm noticing here. The two USB ports closest to, or the two switch locations closest to the USB port is reversed. I assume this is to make space. Fairly common, it's on the top row, doesn't really matter. Even ePVT will work just fine. You have to remove the switches by the plate in order to sit correctly in the case. I think I remember seeing something like that in the build guide when I was checking it out. I think the assembly guide tells you to put this back on put the plate assembly back on the case before starting to assemble your switches. I know that you prefer budget stuff. I don't know if I prefer budget stuff. Oh, I see what's up. Okay. So the direction says that you should put the plate back into the plate and screw it in the temporary screws before you put any of the switches in. Thank you for that, whoever shouted it out in the chat. Because you see here, the corner of the switch housing collides with this little post here, so we are unable to fully insert the assembly into place. So, oh man, that's, I mean, I understand we're facing design limitations here, but that's a lot. So, not a budget cape. Oh, back to the budget cape thing. I tend to make videos about budget stuff because it's more accessible. Sometimes I make videos about the expensive stuff, and you know, it's not very relevant to a lot of people oftentimes. What type of loop do I prefer? I just pick whichever between the Tribosys 3204 or 3203. Whichever one I find first in my closet. Imagine making that mistake on a solder PCB. Yeah. So I guess if the corners are the only problem, you could totally just assemble everything on the up to the corners, and then put it in, put these switches in. But that seems like, I don't know, it seems kind of jank, not gonna lie. Is having no screws worth all this extra hassle? I don't know. Will you be doing Twitch stream? I don't plan on it. Maybe if I start doing build streams, I might want to do it on Twitch because I don't want to flood my YouTube video list with like boring build streams that I personally wouldn't watch. Are you going to insert foam? That's a good point. I think I'm going to go without foam for now to see if it is viable without foam. Okay, I made a mistake here. I'm going to go ahead and screw in all of the temporary screws. Okay, not gonna lie, this is a bit of a hassle. I didn't mind the regular assembly on the Polaris. This seems like a lot. Gat yellows, my favorite linears. They are not. I use them because they are good enough and they're cheap. So I can use them on all of my boards and get to know the differences without or taking into account the switches. It's not that I've forgotten the stabilizers, it's that I am omitting them because I don't want to work on the stabs right now. This will be just a test assembly like I've done with the D65 stream so that I can get an idea of what the board is like. Does the Vega come with plate and case foam? Yes, it does. I'm not using the plate foam for now because I want to see what it's like raw. You should get a PO box. Yeah, PO boxes around where I live is kind of expensive. It's like $50 a month or something like that. Are those stock yellows? No, these are custom switches. SGYs. Oh, fuck. Okay, so when you're inserting these switches, they have a tendency, like if you press down hard enough here, it'll clear both of the switch corners and just go through, and then it might be a hassle to get it back to where it should be. So far, build experience, I don't know, it's a bit much. Oh, unlubed, yes, correct. Do you think custom foam like MK Ultra I don't see why not, but they come with this foam, so I don't know why you would get custom foam made. Oh yeah, SGY does include the stock, yeah. Yes, correct. That is to clear the USB port. Can you compare this with the KBD67 Lite and the D65? Not with the 67 Lite because I don't have one. But the D65, yes. I can pretty much already tell that this is going to be a whole lot flexier. One, because it has a polycarbonate plate, whereas my D65 had a aluminum plate. Two, because it doesn't have those weird side mounting points. And three, I think the compression from the gaskets on the plate is not as gonna be tight as the D65. One thing that comes up when dealing with polycarbonate plates is that they will bend and refuse to kind of clip into place. And then I just feel really bad putting them in place with tweezers because this is a really nice finish and I'm going to scratch it all up, but you know, a plate's a plate. Will you do a review of the Space 65? I will eventually. I think I have the majority of it written already. I think I praise its design for its consistency. I think it's a really out there design that still manages to work pretty okay. But I'll have to revise some of it because it did not survive static shock from me. It blew out a couple of the LEDs. Also, the USB port on the Space 65 is not recessed, so you will always see the USB shielding. The chat on stream is so off. Let me check that out real quick. Oh, right. Yeah, it's off because there's about a 5 to 10 second delay from when I see it to when you guys see it. I only have one monitor right now, so truthfully, the chat feed on the stream is more for me than for you. Is there a reason why you're putting the switches from the outside first? I just put them where I think they should go in terms of holding the soft polycarbonate plate up. I just need them to provide support for each other. Can you put the switches without attaching the plate into the top case? That is what I'm doing, yes. There are a total of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mounting positions to affix the plate to the PCB. And I don't typically do those because the only thing it offers is convenience when you're trying to switch basically hot swap switches, but I never really need to hot swap switches. I can cold swap switches. It just makes the desoldering part non-existent, which is all I need. And the big reason is that if you connect the plate to the PCB at these points, it may create points of hardness, which I theorize can lead to undesirable feels in those areas. Palm versus poly plate. Palm feels like a small trampoline, while a poly plate feels like a large trampoline. I have seen the DGL TKL. Seems like it was from a little while ago, right? What I think about thick plates like 4mm brass, I don't like them. They are super hard to type on. This is a hot swap board? Yes, this is a hot swap board. There is an option for soldered versions. Yes, no stabs because this is basically a mock build, and I'll want to rebuild at a later point for review. ESD, yeah. Oh, so ESD. One of the holes is for ESD. I think it connects to this hole right here. But my plate is plastic, so I don't think there's much electricity to be conducted there. So I'm omitting that. Yes, this seems to be a big issue for you. Do you wear socks on carpet or lack of humidity? That's because you will rarely hear about it on streams, etc. Yeah, I do think I am more ESD prone. I wear rubbers, I wear socks and rubber slippers indoors, and I have carpet. Alright, is that it? I think that's it. Because I can go ahead and put the conductive foam in. So if this is designed in the way I want it to be, if I took a multimeter here and connected it to ground, it should have a continuity or something. And oh, what else? I think there's a note about this screw hole, and this is for grounding as well. I think I can just use any one of these screws, and the protrusion up from the case will make contact with the conductive foam here, and thus providing electrical connectivity. Spacebar about to be a seesaw. Correct. Oh, this screw hole is crunchy. Oh, snap. Don't worry about it, it's fine. So I have this little screw. It doesn't protrude a lot, so I'm gonna replace it with one of the larger ones. I guess I do have this little baggie of stuff. Screw asmar. Which one to use? Most of these are for assembling PCB to the plate. Guess I can go with this one. All right, let me check real quick. If no screw was entered into PCB conducting position of the box, install the screw. Use one of the regular short screws from the hot swap hardware kit for this task. Okay. Look at this gross stuff on my hands. What do you think about the ID80? I have not had a chance to get a look at one, but one of the comparisons I make in the Bella video that I'm working on right now is that I speculate that it wouldn't be any different, it wouldn't be any better than an ID80. The Bella is seriously a disappointing keyboard. I think I wouldn't pay more than $150 for it, but I think the complexity of the case is such that they couldn't charge $150 and still make a profit. So I guess that's a little unfortunate for them. Excuse me if I miss a lot of the obvious stuff on stream, because I guess there's a lot more to focus on than just building the keyboard. Never fully appreciated how hard streaming can be. of the 80 with the acrylic bottom looks nice. Oh, I was not aware of the acrylic version. Opinion on PC boards, not entirely sure, but PC could mitigate your aesthetic issue. I believe you are right. I have a PC board. I think it's okay to use. It's just that all of my PC boards don't have keycaps on them. JYMV exposed. What is your favorite KB Defense board so far? It is easily the TFV2, because it's the only keyboard that handles ESD correctly, and it's a massive improvement in quality over anything else they've had up to that point, except the fire hazard issue, which admittedly is a big issue. Okay, so getting into the keycaps. This is can you guess it? I joked before, but this is actually kind of a niche key set. I mean, as niche as GMK can go, I guess. The campfire board. Minimal? It is not minimal. Did he put on stabs? I can't see them. I am consciously not putting on stabs because this is not intended to be a full build of the keyboard. C. There we go. Andrew Kim got it with GMK Pristine. This was a set that was fulfilled by Z Frontier for me. I don't know if there was a US vendor. It is an off-white. It's the alphas in 9009, but basically the whole set. How many come on mans will it take for you to put on stabs? I'm sorry, I'm just not gonna put on stabs. I'm trying to make a stab lubing guide because my focus for stabs is much different than other people's focus. What's important to me is that I not get any of that lube on my hands. That stuff is disgusting. Are those yellow? No, these are regular Gateron yellows. Did not put on stabs. Come on, man. Messed up arrow cluster. I have since fixed it. Just keep a set of stock clip-ons. Okay, but I would argue that unlubed stabs are worse than no stabs. Have you tried to drop alt high profile before? I have not. Lube on your hands, disgusting. Yes, extremely. So I do have a method. I get one of those syringes. Oh man. This usually never happens. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, I guess that's what we're settling with. I can't find the S key. That's too bad. Yeah, I mean, compared to the D65, this is way flexier. This is much more along the lines of what I expect from a gasket mount board. This is the Polaris right here. It feels about the same. The Polaris, of course, has a half plate here. Okay. I was just messing with you guys. I have it right here. All right. So here is the Vega. You can see all of the smudges I put on it. And let's get that smudge going a little more. USB port, very nice. It looks like it's properly recessed, so plugging in a USB port you won't be able to see the shielding. I really like this view here, this contrast between the case color and the black. I think that's a really cool look. It's cooler than on my Polaris because there's more contrast between the two colors. Yeah, I think it's a good looking board. It is simple, you know. You do this and you're like, okay, why do you have two of the same boards? And even looking at it like this, it's very similar. If we take a look at the KBD8X Mark II, again, very similar. I think this side profile works better with a 5-row keyboard though, so I'm a big fan of that. Do you think the D65 be a lot with the PC plates they offer? I think they would be a little bit more flexier than mine with the aluminum plate, but the D65 has mounting points right here, and I think that would contribute significantly to the hardness, and also the compression between the top and bottom cases. That clamp onto the plate is also very, very strong on the D65, whereas this is more reasonable. Center USB definitely works better with that weight design. I agree. Let me see if I can get a USB-C cable. Right. Here's an LZ cable. Whoops, sorry about that. Can't see it from above. Oh, I guess you can see it from below. But I will say the shielding on the LZ cable is a little longer than some of my other cables. Let me see if I can find another one. Alright, here it is. Oh, well, I mean, you know, what can you do? Alright, let's get a sound test. This time I'm set up better for a sound test than I was before. So let me just adjust my mic. definitely notice the switches. Please don't spam. All right, so I think that sort of concludes our assembly and first look at it. It's definitely a fairly pleasing typing experience. I am feeling quite a bit of vibrations that transfer from one hand to the other, which is definitely something I like. When tried on a gummy worm mount, all of that is gone, which I'm really not a big fan of. I will say, so this is, don't take this as a serious demonstration, but it's, you know, it's got a little bit of flex that you can see, maybe a little more noticeable back here, but like, you know, don't take flex tests that do this as anything significant. Typing feel is okay. I think the board looks really good. I'm very happy with the green finish and color. Green and black is an unexpected color combo win for me. Compared to the Polaris, Polaris has an issue where it doesn't have that much space underneath the PCB. This is all it takes to bottom out. But it's enough that I don't notice it while using. This one I can't test because it doesn't have a half plate. Would I go with a Vega over a Polaris? Vega for me was almost double the price as a Polaris. Is it double the good? I mean, no, it's not. It's kind of a hassle to put together. If you can have both of these boards at MSRP, I would just get the Polaris. You're getting 90% of the experience, and you know, like, you pay double for it, and it's not really finished any better. It doesn't feel any better. Yeah. Let's get a final weight. So 1.6 kilos, about 3.5 pounds, which is it similar to the Polaris? Yeah, it's very similar to the Polaris. What's the keyboard on the top left? This is a regular old HHKB Pro 2. The Polaris was $235 shipped MSRP. It is very unrealistic to even consider the MSRP of a board from a group buy from over a year ago. That is fair, but I think there's a Polaris 2 coming at some point. Oh, Polaris is $265. Yeah, that sounds more correct. Okay, I guess it's not double the price then. If the Polaris can be done at that cost, maybe if you sacrifice some of the screwless design thing and get it down to under $350, I would really like this. Yeah, and I generally don't recommend buying anything in the aftermarket because I just don't think it's worth it. It's so expensive, and there's no reason to buy anything for an inflated price. In the end, they're just keyboards, and if it's feel you're after, somebody's gonna replicate it. The 7 key on the number pushed in all the way, it looks misaligned. It does look misaligned to me. I highly doubt it's the keyboard. It's probably fine. Okay, so I guess I should sort of wrap up this portion of the stream. So my thoughts on this. Unboxing experience is pretty good. I think the remaining box is such that I could store the board in it with keycaps. Let me see. Yeah, okay. I can't store it with keycap. Unboxing experience is pretty good. I would have preferred a solution that I can store stuff in, because otherwise it just becomes unnecessary waste. Learned that from Gerald Undone, who was basically shaming people for thinking too much about the unboxing experience. But if there's additional utility to be had from a box that you can use later on, I think that's good. The finish is very nice. Similar texture as the Polaris, which is a smooth satin finish. Not very rough, not very glossy. It is shimmery, as you'd expect. The weight finish definitely attracts much more fingerprints than the anodized finish. I don't notice any difference from having a brass weight versus a stainless steel weight. Typing feel is very much similar to what I found on the Polaris. Assembly is a little iffy. Putting the gaskets on is kind of a hassle, but that's expected. But the thing where you have to put the screws into the case and then put the switches in, that's a little much. Yeah, I think it's a super well-designed keyboard. I really enjoy this part. You see that USB port cutout is split between the weight and the case. I love that. I loved it on the Iron 165. I love it here. Yeah, feels good. I would use this. Just from a feels perspective, I would not use a TFV2 if it wasn't for ESD. I would not use a Bella, would not use a D65, or really a lot of the keyboards I own. But this I would use. This feels all right. Yeah, I guess that's it for my impressions. I guess we can sort of move on to any questions you might have for the board, any general questions, anything like that. Is the green darker IRL than showing up on your camera? Yes, it is darker IRL. I would say, let me angle it. I would say this is about the level of green that you can expect around this portion in real life. Okay, I showed up late. Sound test. I have done a sound test, but I'll do one in a little bit. O-ring mount my tofu. So, not to rain on your parade, but O-ring mounting on a board that's not designed for it usually just ends up in doing mostly nothing. It might dampen some vibrations and stuff like that. It might change the sound a little bit, but in my experience, it doesn't really do much. USB port, very clean, very nice. Let's see. Did you sound test with stock Gateron yellows? Yes, I did. Why do you only use Gat yellows? It's used as a control across my keyboard so that I don't, so I can, if I pick up any differences in a keyboard, I want to be sure that it's from a keyboard and not from the switches. So I have to pick one switch that's cheap and good enough, and Gateron yellows sort of fits the bill. Do I prefer gasket mount flex or plateless flex? I prefer plateless flex by far. Gasket mount gets rid of all the internal vibrations, and that's exactly the thing I like. Oh, so June says probably so we can compare sounds between different boards with respect to using Garon-Yellows. So that is a consideration, but that's not my explicit reason, because recording setups differ between sound tests, and I don't necessarily want to guarantee that my recording setup is equal across all sound tests. I have an NK65 V2 aluminum. Would this be an upgrade? I don't have experience with the NK65, but from the mounting diagram, I don't think I would be a big fan of how it types. I think this would be an upgrade, but I'm not really sure. No. Come to think of it, these two keys are misaligned. And these two keys just so happens they correspond with the upside down ones. Okay, I'll have to investigate that further. Did I hop on the Think 6.5 V2? I did not. I was never a fan of the logos that they use in there with the light bulb and everything, and V2 didn't really seem to have much continuity between the V1. They had like some nautical themes, right? I didn't really understand it. I also didn't really like the barrage of marketing that went on the V1 buy, so I'm not like that. Do you know if Canon Keys is having another round of Savage 65? No idea. Not really. What is wrong with the 7? Let's see. So you can sort of tell that the 7 and 8 keys are a little depressed. I wouldn't be so suspicious if it was just a 7, because I would chalk that up to a mistake from my part. But 7 and 8 just so happen they are the upside down keys on the USB port. I think there may be a problem, there may not be. Don't take this video as evidence, but I'll have to investigate this point. Loving the green. Yeah, it's exceeding expectations. Random question. Did the designer of GMK Tegoki Hanguk ever get in touch with you? So, not really something I want to get too much into. He did not get in touch with me. The only thing was that he left a comment on the video saying something like, if you have the decency, please pin this comment with the edits. And that sort of signals to me that he still felt that he was a victim, so I'm not about to engage with that. What switch would sound good with poly plate on the Vega? I don't really know about sounds. I have on my, I have on my E6.5 a polycarbonate half plate, and I'm using lubed Pro Purples, which I think sound pretty alright. They just did have another round for Satisfaction 75. I wonder if they skipped a daughterboard to save price on this design. Oh yeah, I wish there was a daughterboard on this keyboard. And I thought there was a daughterboard on this keyboard until like someone told me after I had received the package, because of the center USB port. I thought it was daughterboard, but yeah, if for a flexi keyboard, you see there's movement there, but if you plug it in, it's going to collide with the USB-C cable shield. So that becomes a mounting point. So that's why, especially for flexible keyboards, I typically like to have a daughterboard in there. Would Polaris sound test would Polaris be similar to the Vega? I believe so. I took the switches off, or the keycaps off, but let me listen with my headphones off. This seems pretty similar. I may or may not include a comparison between the two. I don't know if it's worth doing a comparison between the two. What do you think? Yeah, this board is a little more complicated than I thought it would be. There's going to be a lot of work to do for review. I don't think I can... I don't know if the Vega group I have sold out already, but I think... yeah, I think... I don't know if I can get it out in time, basically. What do you think about the Boop 65? I don't really pay attention to it because I am currently not supporting Beep due to the GMK seppuku thing. I don't believe the response was adequate enough, so I'm not using that. D65 versus Vega. I don't know if they're competitors, but I can see why people might think that, so I think that's a good idea. How easy is it to wipe the smudges? Let's see. I don't have really any fabric on me, but let's see. This is just my jacket, cotton. Not very easy. Have I missed anything? I don't know. When did you check in? Kind of unrelated, but anyone know where to get plate foam? Oh, Darboy looks like making issue with flex speed. Correct. I only hear about stuff like GMK Seppuku and GMK High Castle after the fact. Yeah, I mean, GMK High Castle also has me avoiding Dixie Mech for anything. I mean, at this rate, I'm going to end up with no one to buy anything from. Alright, should we do a quick design comparison? Oh, yeah, we're basically closing out the stream, so you missed a lot, I guess. So from left to right, it is very heavy. 8X Mark II, Vega and Polaris. Basically the same design. I like it. Polaris bottom. Vega bottom. Holy crap. And 8X bottom. Yeah, this is just the same keyboard. And AIO3 fully admits it on his design logs. He will slice up a design and then basically fix the layout. I think that's pretty dank. Nice HKB, did you lube and silence it? I only silenced it. If you tuned in just... Oh yeah, I already addressed that. Are you having beef with so much vendors? I don't have beef with them. I am simply voting with my wallet for things that I don't support. Would the Vega's USB design interfere with the keyboard feel? Let me test that real quick. So, plug that in. Unplug that. It doesn't feel perceptibly different. But I'm saying theoretically, it could be different. AIO angry. Yeah, I think we're sort of coming to a close here. hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you guys have any last questions for me, suggestions, comments, concerns, I am all ears. I have 3 tofu builds. I really want something nicer at this point. You know, tofu is pretty good. If they are tray mounts, I would explore drilling out the mount right here and the one right here, and then building it plateless. That's actually one of my favorite mounting solutions ever. I will be uploading the VOD for this, and I will also include detailed timestamps, just like I did for D65. Should you get the Vega? That's a good question. Should you get the Vega? Let's check out together how much this guy is. So I would probably want E-White. Is it any more expensive? Oh, you know, if the E-White is the same cost as everything else, I probably want E-White. Oh, I guess every option is $329. Shipping for me was about $45, so this is gonna land you pretty close to $400, which is no longer in the same market as what the Polaris was. Should you get the Vega? Maybe? If you know what you're looking for, maybe you should get it. What happened with GMK High Castle? Yeah, it got deleted. So it was a set inspired by what was it? The Amazon original show Man in the High Castle. It was basically just Nazi and Imperial Japan imagery, and you know, that's kind of yikes. A million MX keyboards, but defaulting back to the HHKB only because I have it plugged in. Also, the only cable I have right now is mini USB, and I don't have any mini USB keyboards. Wasn't the Polaris a disaster for Area 3 financially? Disaster in that Area 3 elected to not make any money on it. I would call that a disaster, yes. Try a PC, KBD67 Mark II for rain. My wife and I use them for work and enjoy them with some Tangies. There is also a PC plate if you can find one. Yeah, I've been meaning to get my hands on a KBD67. It seems really promising, but I just haven't gotten around to it, and yeah, I don't know. Will you buy the heavy grail for HHKB? No, I'm not that much of a fan of Topra. I'm only using it because it's the winter. Can you recommend any good upcoming group buys for keyboards? I like the way the K looks. I don't know if that's still open. I don't really follow group buys anymore. I don't know. Usually when there's a notable keyboard, it just kind of comes to my attention, and I get it if I like it. The Think 6.5 has got to be my favorite KB. I thought he ended up losing money. Yeah, I guess I'm not really sure what happened with Area 3 and Polaris. I think it's safe to assume that the price will be going up for the second round. What are your thoughts on Ergo keyboards? So the Alice-like layout is actually pretty easy for me to get used to because I type properly with left hand doing what left hand should and right hand doing what right hand should. I think the Maja does the arrow keys a little in an ugly way. I think the LZ physics does it really well. The ergonomic benefits, there may be some, maybe not a lot, don't expect too much. One day we will get the physics review. So it was way in the backlog until LZ released the interest check for the phase, which appears to be just another round of the physics. And I feel like I need to get it out before that becomes a thing because the physics is such a disappointing keyboard. At what time do you usually stream? I've only done 2 streams and they've been 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. AO3 used a lot of the little profit he had from Polaris to develop Vega. I think it was very successful for him, so definitely good on him for that. He deserves it. He seems to do a lot of good for the community. And puts up with a lot on his Discord. Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the stream now. Thank you all for tuning in, and I don't actually have anything coming to me in the near future other than the Animal Crossing key set. I don't know if unboxing key sets is something you want to see, but yeah, I guess I'll see you later. I think the next review is going to be the Bella, probably. I have the most progress made on that one. Alright, goodbye.